Welcome to the Marvelous Middle Age Podcast, where midlife meets growth, purpose, and connection. A place where midlife is not something to survive, but a season to thrive. Here, we're building a welcoming community of people who are right in the middle of life, sharing our stories, learning from one another, and discovering just how meaningful and powerful this season can be. Together, we'll explore the topics that shape midlife, relationships, transitions, health, parenting, careers, and the inner work that helps us thrive. My goal is to encourage you, uplift you, and remind you that midlife can be vibrant, meaningful, and deeply fulfilling. My hope is that you'll feel seen, supported, and inspired to live fully, grow bravely, and embrace the person you're becoming. I'm so glad you're here. Let's navigate midlife together on the Marvelous Middle Age Podcast. Ashley Bass, welcome to the Marvelous Middle Age Podcast.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here this morning.
Well, I'm excited you are here as well. We had such a great conversation before we even started recording about all of our favorite shows. At the time that we were recording this, the new season of Bridgerton is coming out. So if any of you listeners are Bridgerton fans, we had a whole conversation and analysis of Bridgerton and Stranger Things and all of the shows that we want to watch and we make time to watch because it's fun and brings us joy. That was really, really fun. We can probably do a whole episode.
I was going to say,
if
I
we
feel like I still have lots to say about all of
Bridgerton. We could really go down a rabbit hole with that one. That would be fun. That would actually be really fun to do. But before we get into your story, could you just introduce yourself to the guest, share a little bit about yourself, your family, and what you do?
Yes, absolutely. So I'm a small town girl. I grew up in a small town in Northeast Iowa, West Union, graduated from there and then moved to Cedar Rapids to go to Co. And I majored in elementary education at Co. I knew I wanted to be a teacher since the third grade, and got my major in that. And then after I graduated, I never left Cedar Rapids. I've been here ever since. I took the job, my teaching job at the Hiawatha Day School right after I was done at Co. And I was there until June of 2023. So Cedar Rapids just kind of became home to me.
I love that. I love that. Well, it's cool to me that you've known what you wanted to do since you were a child. And I think that's really going to be interesting to see how that has impacted your story as you get into it. But we met in a way, not directly, but I had the opportunity to see you speak at the U Conference last year and hear your story. And it was super powerful. I was just amazed at your strength, getting up in front of a group of people that you probably didn't know everybody in the room.
No, I think I knew like maybe two people in that room.
Right. To get up there and share about your journey and what has happened in your life. And I just think there's something so powerful when we share our stories. We were talking a little bit before we recorded about this too, about how there's always somebody out there that may be going through something very similar, not exactly the same, but maybe they're not feeling super supported. And so to hear someone share and be so vulnerable is really powerful. And so
I would agree.
So glad that you did that. That was great. When you were up there, like, how did it feel? Did it feel like, were you nervous? Was it empowering? A mix of both?
Oh, gosh.
Like, what did you feel? Do you remember?
Yeah. Oh, I remember. I remember it very vividly, which I kind of thought I would almost kind of black out in a sense, where you're just like, okay, I'm just going to get through this. But I did not. I was so honored to be there. I was so excited to be there. I was proud. It's the first time that I had spoke a lot of those words to strangers over the course of this journey of, my story, if you will. So no, I felt very empowered. The other, speakers that were there, just the people in the audience. I mean, everything about that was just everything I had hoped it would be. And it was a huge, huge step forward, I felt like, for me in like my kind of healing journey, if you will, just to be able to share that and have it be received the way that it was.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. I think it was so powerful. And to see women sharing about some of the most challenging times in their lives and how the focus of that particular conference was resilience.
Yes.
And it was so empowering, but also encouraging, I think, for people in the audience to hear what others have been through, how they came through it, what they're still struggling with. Like, it just was amazing. And I think about the time this episode will be airing as you're listening to this, the U Conference is going to be held in March. And so it's super exciting. Again, if you're listening to this, it's just a great conference. So follow them on Facebook so you can stay up with all the updates on that one. But yes, to kind of reference, you have experienced some pretty significant changes and transitions in your life, both personally and professionally. So to kind of set the stage, can you share your story? What has happened in your life, and kind of what has gone on for you?
Yeah. So I kind of thought to really kind of grasp it all, I kind of wanted to share the timeline of how everything kind of unfolded for me. And then maybe circle back to like specific areas. But ultimately, in July of 2022, my then husband and I decided to get a divorce. And then in August of 2022, I found out that the school that I had been working at ever since I graduated from the Hiawatha Day School, it was being sold. And that place was just very, very special to me. I have 2 kids. I have a 12-year-old daughter and an 8-year-old son. They had grown up there with me from 12 weeks until 5 years old. That place just was kind of my safety, if you will. It was like my happy place when things at home were not the picture that I may have been trying to portray. That place was just very special. So accepting that my marriage was ending in July of 2022 to then finding out that I was going to be losing my school in August of 2022, both happening at the same time, was just kind of how it all began. So that kind of paints that picture there. And then fast forward to June of 2023, I was officially done at the Hiawatha Day School. July of 2023, we didn't even begin the divorce process until that point in time. Then I was on the job hunt, finally accepted a new job in December of 2023. The divorce was final in 2024. And then my then husband moved out in October. So it was just for like a little bit of a timeline of, it was not something that was at all planned, if you will. And it just kept coming. Like things just kept coming over the course of the 2 years. So, that's just kind of an outline of why I feel that sharing about these things is important, because it was just a lot of things happening at once that I absolutely was not prepared to handle.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, that's just rapid. When you lay out that timeline like that, it is just rapid succession of, the dissolution of your marriage, the change in a major change in your job, all of it, and happening just one thing after the other. And that had to have just been, you talked about blacking out when you were maybe blacking out on the stage. Yes. Do you ever look back at that time and like, is it still very vivid, or do you feel like there are times that's just like a blur? Like to me, I would just feel like, oh my gosh, that had to have just been like an upending, like just, was it a blur, or is it just still very vivid for you?
I almost wish it was a blur. Yeah. Because that's just how hard everything hit. Mm-hmm. I feel like I am a little, like, to get to know me a little bit, my entire life, I have kind of been more of like a people pleaser role. Mm-hmm. As a kindergarten teacher for so long, I am just happy and I am just great. And everybody else, like I will take care of everything. And that's the image and the vision that I had built. I was very proud of that. I absolutely loved that, but you can get stuck in that. Mm-hmm. And so I think maybe what I've learned is that if it was more of a blur, it may have helped me kind of cope a little bit better. But I still remember the conversation about the divorce happening very vividly. And then a month later, the conversation I had at the school about like, I remember everything, and it's kind of like a blessing and a curse. I feel like it's helped me get to where I am now.
Mm-hmm.
But in the same sense, it's sometimes I will even catch myself just being like, I don't understand how all of that can happen at one time to one person, and for why?
Right.
Like because I vividly remember it so much, why is this happening? Like,
right.
I do not understand why this is happening.
Right.
And my vision and my look, that I wanted and what was supposed to happen in my life, none of it was happening. So,
right.
I still vividly remember all of it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. When you think back, if you we isolate each situation, again, to whatever level you're comfortable sharing,
yep.
but like with your marriage and what that kind of does to a person, how it impacts a person and a family,
yes.
right? Because it has this ripple effect. It's not just you and your spouse ending a relationship. It it ripples to children. It ripples to your side of the family, his side of the family. Like, tell us a little bit about your journey through that personal side of that transition in the sense of your relationship. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
Share what you feel, what you went through and how that impacted you.
So if I'm being completely honest, when it was when the kind of the decision was made, mm-hmm. I was not surprised mm-hmm. that it was happening.
Yeah.
Just with how kind of things had been, and we both kind of just had become two individuals that were playing a role of husband and wife. And, that I think is just the reality sometimes. Mm-hmm. And we had tried, to be like, it's going to be fine. Everything's going to be fine. I knew it was going to be fine. Right. He would say the same thing. And ultimately that's why we made the decision that we made. But I was not supposed to be a person that got divorced. Mm-hmm. Like that was just not supposed to happen to me.
Yeah.
Plus I had 2 children.
Yeah.
And so I know that I would not, I would have stayed because of the children. And that's not really fair to anybody looking back in the situation. Yeah. But when you're in it, there's just so many other people. And then I'm, now looking back, it's like, again, people pleaser. Like, why was I concerned about what they were going to think, or they were going to think, or they were going to think? Like, why is that where my head went? And, but that's just how it was. Mm-hmm. So going through that, I definitely, even still now, it's like, I never wanted to be a woman that was divorced, but mm-hmm. I'm ultimately 100% know it was the right decision for me to make that decision, and for us, and how that works. But I think what happened then is when I had to then go through the career, I was so alone. Mm-hmm. We hadn't really told very many people about the divorce, if anybody. Yeah. We were trying to maneuver it and figure things out on our own. But I was supposed to be able to go to work every day and just kind of forget about what was happening at home.
Right.
But then I had to go to work every day and understand what was happening there and what I was losing. But then I had nobody at home to come home to lean on or to help. And, even though we were both still there,
it's not the same.
No, it's absolutely not
your
the
relationship
same. And we had already made this decision. And so that was what was supposed to happen next. That kind of got put on pause because now this was happening and I didn't know which one to do. Then I have to come home and I have, 2 amazing kiddos that know nothing, absolutely nothing about what's going on. Right. And then I'm putting on this front that's like, Mom's fine. Yeah. I'm so happy and I'm so great and I'm so fake. And I don't like fake people. Like I'm just like, you do you be you. And I was so fake. Yeah. And that was the hardest thing for me, was the pretending that, this is just normal. No, it's not. This is not.
I'm having a normal day. I think, and I think sometimes when we're going through a really hard time, that protection, it's almost like we're protecting ourselves or maybe our loved ones.
100%.
Like we feel like we are, because if we really let the guard down, it wouldn't it wouldn't go well.
No.
But and again, eventually the guard does have to come down and you have to deal with the feelings
Yes.
but I think in the midst of it, when you're in it, that, like you said, kind of the pretending or the fake that you felt like you were giving off, it's a way to kind of like keep yourself from completely falling apart.
Yes.
Right. And because
hanging on by that thread.
Right. When we're professionals, we have children in the mix. We have other things going on in our lives. I think, especially as women, I think we feel like we have to hold it all together for everybody else. And if that means we suffer in some way, then so be it. Which, I mean, again, that people can debate whether that's the right attitude or not. But I think that's sometimes our go-to is like, I've got to keep it together for my family, for my, colleagues, for whatever. We take the back seat.
Yeah.
And then at some point, and maybe you can talk about this too, like at some point we do the work to heal ourselves. Hopefully.
Absolutely.
Sometimes we don't. Sometimes we don't. And that's the hard part about it.
And that's just the reality, I feel like too. And if I think back to it, was almost like the word divorce was like a bad word. Like I didn't even want to use it out loud. I would be like, ending our marriage, separating, but we weren't just separating. But like saying it, I think it took me months to actually come out and say, I'm getting divorced.
Yeah.
And like that even it was so weird to even think that, or like, but there is like a shame.
Oh,
and I think ultimately, at the time when it was just, me not wanting to let anybody else know what was going on, or, kind of playing that role, if you will, that was my shield.
Right.
And I'm okay with that. And I needed to do it at the time.
Right.
But it's
hard.
It's really just hard.
Yeah. Yeah. That's really hard. And I think when you were talking about using other terminology, remember when Gwyneth Paltrow was getting a divorce, they called it consciously uncoupling. I'm like, oh, come on.
Oh my gosh, consciously uncoupling.
It's like but you're right. I think there is a stigma. There is a shame.
Yes.
There is something in our society that, and people get divorced all the time.
They
it happens
do
all the time for all kinds of reasons.
Yes.
And I think there is that in there, and there shouldn't be. I think that people, people do everything to try and save the relationship.
Absolutely.
They go through everything, and people who are on the outside of it don't understand that. They don't understand that, hey, we've tried the things that we think are good for us. Like we tried. It just isn't going to work.
It's just not going to work. And sometimes that's just how it is.
Right. Right.
Just ultimately what's the best choice for everybody involved.
Right.
But it is definitely a stigma. That's a perfect word. And I felt that. And even as I did start talking about it, you 100% felt that. Like, oh boy.
Yeah.
Like,
people trying to be supportive. They're like, oh,
yes.
And it's like,
and unless you've been through it, you don't understand. It's like becoming a mom. Like I remember when I would have friends become moms, you don't understand what it's like until you live it. And I would never wish it on any, like a mom. I mean, that's wonderful, but like wish a divorce on anybody? Absolutely not. But sometimes you don't understand what it's like until you go through it. And having that support, it's rare to have people want to support it.
Right.
Because, maybe you could do more, maybe you could try more, maybe you should just do better. Like I had all of those thoughts go through my head, all of them. I can do better. What can I change? But no, like I can't put that weight on myself any longer, nor could he. You know what I mean? It was just like,
wasn't fair to
any of us, or the kids in general too. So yeah,
kids are better when both parents are happy and thriving.
Oh yes.
And if that means, again, like you said, you do all the things, you try all the things. If it means the marriage ends, then it's better to have two happy, thriving parents for kids.
Yes.
Because kids, I think, in my opinion, they can sense stuff, right? Even if nothing is ever said, I think they sense things. I think it's better. That's just my opinion, to have two really happy parents that are thriving in life. And maybe they don't happen to be married at that moment. So you had all this personal stuff happening. Then the bottom drops out at the school, and it's getting sold, and your teaching career is in flux. You mentioned, so the school was sold. You were done there in June of 20.
Yeah. So I finished out that year. So I found out in July of 22, right before the new school year started.
Okay.
And then kind of maneuvered through that, trying to really understand, like, is this a place I can still maybe stay? Is this still something that I value and believe in? And I quickly learned that it was just not. Like everything that I had done was not going to be there any longer.
Yeah.
And so then it was, do I stay in education? Then it was, okay, so 16 years I had been here, would have been there longer, was very, very proud of what I did, loved what I did, had a great partnership there. Teaching was what I was always going to do. Yeah. I knew since third grade, I went to school for it. I was living my dream and I was loving it. Yeah. I think the two differences between these is the divorce was a choice that I 100%, although I didn't want, I knew it was the right choice. We both did. And I accepted that. That was not easy, but okay, I'm a part of this and I have a say in this. And I'm saying yes. I did not get that with my job. I did not get that. It was very much just removed from me. And so then it was just, okay, do I stay in education? And I tried. The school I was at was a private school. And so I tried to figure out different avenues to stay in education. I did all of the things right. You know, I updated my resume. I got amazing letters of recommendation from people. I did the classes. I did everything I needed to do to get my name out there into the realm of maybe public education or just something that was different from what I was doing. And I interviewed and I applied and I interviewed and I applied and I was getting rejection after rejection. And it was just strange because I'm a degreed licensed teacher. I'm good at what I do and nothing was just working. And I just didn't understand why. And that was, so a whole nother level I felt like on top of it. It was like, okay, I have to have a job. Right. I'm getting divorced now. I'm going to be a single mom. I have to have a job in order to now enter this new realm. Right. I'm trying. Like, what am I doing wrong? And rejections are hard. I mean, no matter what it is, rejections are hard, especially when you feel like you could be a good fit for it. But so then I just got to the point of where I was like, you know what, maybe I need to pivot and ask myself, like, maybe my time in education needs to go on pause. Like at the time I thought maybe I was just like, okay, we just got to pivot and figure out something else. And
that's a big question.
That was a very big question because I was supposed to live my whole life as a teacher. Like even right now I'm an educator. Yeah. I'm an educator. Right. Like I firmly still believe that. Yes, it's part of who I am. So even having to be like, okay, well, what else am I good at? Right. Like I'm going to be 40 years old. I haven't done anything else my entire life. What else do? I work with kindergarteners. I love kids. Like, what else do I do? Yeah. So that was a whole nother thing. It was just,
it's a part of your identity, like almost like your DNA in a sense where like, I've done this. Not only have I done it all these years, because people have careers where they're in it forever, but do they still truly love it and enjoy it? And are they passionate about it? And when you have both of those elements, the thought of doing anything else is like, what in the world? Like, how do I even begin to do that? So how did your new career path come about? Like what happened in you? You said you started to kind of question, you know, what else should I do? What else am I good at? How did all this new come to be?
It's kind of crazy. So I was just starting to talk to people. Again, you just have to open up at some point in time and just kind of be like, so this is what's going on with me. Like maybe, you know, this is what's happening.
Right.
And I had done that with a friend and they had told me about like a new kind of up and coming preschool thing that was kind of going to get started in the area and how their child was going to be attending. I was like, oh, like it kind of sounded like, I would go from here to here and it would just be like an amazing fit. And talking to them, they were also like, in the meantime, like I'm looking for somebody to kind of help me do some kind of like business type stuff, just maybe part-time, like kind of just being like offering me kind of a little segue to like, I know you're in a transition stage.
Right.
So I'm looking for somebody who could just kind of help with a few little off tasks for my business. I was like, that'd be great. I obviously have the time as I keep trying to figure out where I'm going to land in education. And that was with a digital marketing business.
Yeah.
And so I kind of started dipping my toes in that and helping there as I could while still applying or looking, for other jobs to stay in education. And that is kind of like the meet cute, how they say how it works. Yeah. And I ended up not getting that preschool teaching job, which was just another one where it's like, okay, so that one was really the point where I was like, okay, education is not lining up for me. And that's okay. Like I had to tell myself, this is not because you are not good enough, those were always the thoughts too. It's like, okay, but like, I really am good at what I do. And it just wasn't working. And I'm sure the other, like everybody else was, it was nothing against me. It just wasn't. And there was a reason it wasn't working out.
Right.
And I firmly believe that now there was just a reason. I'm very glad that I tried. I'm very glad that I tried to stay in it. And then that role that I was able to take with Hello Digital, which is the digital and social media marketing company, that grew. And I kind of was like, oh, my strengths that I have as like a teacher and just a professional are really fitting in here. And like the team, it's a very small team. Like they were starting to notice that, and we were all just starting to work together, and I would, be given a little bit more trust and a little bit more responsibility. And I'm like, oh, like this is exciting. I never thought I would find something that excited me the same way I was excited at my school, in a completely different way, and then it just kind of evolved. And then in December of 2023, that's when I was offered a full-time role as the business and client manager for Hello Digital. And
that's amazing.
And amazing. Even now, like I get chills like talking about it because of how the trust that I had to have in just trying something different. Change is so scary. So scary. And I was comfortable as a teacher because I knew I was good at it and I knew exactly how I wanted it to be. Now I have to step out and say, I'm going to try something completely different that I have no skills on, no education on, no experience on, and just hope for the best. And that makes you feel very vulnerable. And I don't like to feel vulnerable.
No. Well, no, I mean, it was a huge leap of faith. It was a huge leap of faith in the fact that you had this really solid professional background. You knew how to be a teacher, right? You knew that in your core. This was something brand new. Now, maybe some of those skills were transferable into the business side of things.
And I know that now,
right. But at the time you're like,
yes. Like how does a kindergarten teacher go to be a like business and client manager for a digital marketing company? Like how, like
you figured it out.
I 100% did. And like, I'm so grateful, But at that time it's like, this is not going to work, but I am so grateful for the opportunity to try. And that was maybe more of a pessimistic attitude, but at that time it was a little bit more pessimistic in my world than optimistic. Right. And so, but I just like trusted the journey of it all. Yeah. Because I really didn't have much else of a choice except to allow myself to just be vulnerable and try something new and accept that change was inevitable. My whole world was changing. Yeah. Everything about my life was changing other than the fact that I was a mom. That was still a solid thing. Yes. Yep, but everything else was changing. Yeah. And that's probably one of my biggest takeaways is relationships change. Life changes. Like, that is just an inevitable thing. And you can either embrace it or you can resist it. Yeah. And can be so much more rewarding if you just allow yourself to embrace it, as scary and hard as it might be.
Absolutely. And to that exact point, I was just thinking that as you were talking in that, yes, change is going to happen in every facet of our lives throughout our entire lives. And it's our response to it. That is how we respond. And are we going to get it right every time? No. That's just life. That's we're humans. But if you can have that mentality of embracing it as opposed to resisting it, I think that can really go a long way. When you think about this transition, multiple transitions, all kind of happening at the same time, what do you feel like these experiences have revealed to you about yourself? And did you learn anything new about yourself as you were going through all of this upheaval in your life?
I learned a lot about myself. I think the biggest thing that I had learned is how much I had kind of lost myself in the resistance to it all, in the resistance to the fact that, you know, my marriage wasn't what I thought it was going to be. And it was, you know, we were going to get the divorce, and the resistance that I had to be a teacher and all I am is a teacher. I resisted that for a while, and I really kind of lost my spark. And going through all of this, never would have asked for it. But because I did choose to just take it as it was, I truly learned that I don't have to be the only one that makes sacrifices. I don't have to be the one that is constantly pleasing everybody else. Like, I am strong. I am resilient, as are so many other people as they're going through things. I don't need to be embarrassed by my story. And that's my biggest takeaway, that even sometimes I'm a big journaler, and I'm an affirmations girl through and through. I was so embarrassed. And looking back, I don't understand why I had to feel embarrassed, because my life wasn't picture perfect. And I never would have wanted to talk about it. I didn't want to talk about it. Because then if it doesn't make it real, right. But I really didn't have anything to be embarrassed of. No. And I just wish back then I had somebody that was able to tell me that.
Right.
Like, hey, yeah.
You're in the suck
this
right
sucks.
now.
Yeah. But you can and will. And
yeah. You have a lot to be proud of, honestly.
I feel that now. Yeah. And it's taken a long time, mind you. I mean, I was not in a good place. I was in a very dark place, and, put in the work and the time and the therapy and all of the thoughts and the stuff to get myself through that. But yeah, I think my biggest thing with it all is, because I am kind of like an affirmations girl, and I love to kind of read and write and do things like that. I came across something, and it said, if you feel like you cannot move on from whatever you are going through in that moment, you need to remember this, that 6 months ago or 12 months ago or 2 years ago, you thought the exact same thing, which I did. Right. I thought the exact same thing. I am never going, what is going to happen? Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And you were in a position that threatened all that was hopeful within you. You did not think you would survive, but 6 months ago or 12 months ago or 2 years ago, you did. And I did. I did survive it. And I am on the other side. And I may not be thriving, but I certainly feel like I am thriving.
Yes.
Compared to how I felt in the thick of everything that was happening.
Right.
And I think that was something that in that moment, I did not picture myself here to where I am now.
Yeah.
And that kind of gives me all the emotions, even just saying that out loud, because my life is still not what I thought my life would be at 40, but is it really ever sometimes? No. I mean, is that,
no. And that's the part of it that can be hard, but it also can be beautiful, right? It doesn't look like what I thought, but my gosh, where am I right now that I'm experiencing the things I'm experiencing, meeting people, doing things. You got up on a stage and spoke at a conference.
That is so outside my comfort zone.
I know, right.
As much as I like to talk, because I do, that was
that was a bridge too far.
Yeah. But in the best way. And
right. Yes.
I dug myself out of it, out of something that I thought was just completely undiggable. It was just, not just personal, not just professional, personal and professional, two of the biggest things
Right.
at the same time. And everybody goes through those hardships. Everybody has their things, and nobody's as bigger or smaller than other people's, but you can get out of it. Like you can wake up in the morning each day and keep like trying. And
yeah, please share. You've got,
yes, I know this is just I'm
this is all about reflection
thinking,
too.
yes.
I think because
and like what I
looking
wrote
back. Yeah. What did you write?
What I wrote was,
journal?
You woke up in the morning, you pushed through the mess, you dug yourself out of the hurt. You held on to whatever light you could find each morning, each day. You pressed it into yourself whenever you could, reminding yourself that goodness still existed, that softness was still there. You had the strength to save yourself. You have always had that strength. Please don't ever forget that. Whew.
Yeah.
So
Kleenex is here on the table. It's like, I need one. Yeah.
It's just like,
you need one.
Oh, thank you.
I do.
It's just like,
yeah.
I just felt so alone.
Yeah.
During it all.
Mm-hmm.
And I had wonderful support, wonderful friends, wonderful family. I know I wasn't alone, but I still felt that. And I just don't ever want people to feel like they have to feel that way. And speaking it now, 2 years, going on 3 years.
Right.
I mean, it was so heavy and so much. And, I did it.
Right.
And I love the choices that I made. I do. Yeah. Like I have no regrets in any of it.
Huge.
And I think that's huge. A really good feeling.
Yeah.
But I think I allowed myself to trust myself, and I have never felt more myself.
Yeah.
And I think like on that stage for you conferences too was the first time I spoke about so many different things that I wasn't going to hide anymore or be ashamed of. And I had to understand too that like if relationships were going to change because of the decisions that I chose to make, that was going to have to just be okay too.
Right.
Because this is who I am and this is what I want. And
that's important.
It's important to
absolutely
to feel that for yourself.
Absolutely. So you kind of alluded to this a little bit, but if someone is listening to this episode and they are in it, whatever it might be, they are dealing with something significant in their personal lives, their professional lives. What would you want them to know, and what encouragement would you share with them today?
I think my biggest thing for anybody who might be going through anything, whatever it might be, is, and this, might seem like a cliche thing, but you really are not alone. And you do not have to hide or pretend or, fake it.
Yeah.
And if I went back and changed one thing about how I handled everything, it would be that I would not shut everyone out and just think I can get through it on my own.
Yeah.
Because there are some things, whether they are big or small, that you just absolutely have to understand that you may not have it in you to do it by yourself, and you don't have to do it by yourself.
Right. You're not alone.
No matter how strong, or what image you feel like you have to portray, you can let that guard down and you can lean on others, and you can take, time to gather from outside sources and to just let it go.
Right.
I mean, I remember a moment where I was literally in my bathroom in the fetal position, just bawling.
Yeah.
Because I felt so alienated, but I was doing that to myself. I mean, I was, because I didn't know how else to do it. And if you are feeling that, just know that you can gather strength from others.
Yeah.
Whether it's, friends or family or therapy or however it might be, to help get that light built back up again. Because I know that's what saved me. That's 100% what pushed me to continue, no matter how I was feeling like a failure or, just like a complete,
what has happened to
What
my
has
life? Right. This
happened,
is like
yes,
you said,
and-
this career that I've built, this marriage that I built, everything
Yes.
is not going the way I had hoped it would. And opening yourself up to friends, family, colleagues, therapists,
Yes.
and so on, really can powerfully impact.
It can powerfully impact
everything. Yeah.
Yeah. And just know that you can and you will. Like
Right.
you can and you will. And it might take time. And
Right.
it is like I said, even for me, it is still, there are still moments where I'm like, okay, like this is still curious, but
Right.
we're going to keep going, but
Right.
you can and you will. And I think just trust that.
Right. Trust it, lean into it, because you're exactly right. There is light.
There is
light and you can get through it, and you can experience joy
Yes.
again, and you can have the life that maybe you didn't envision for yourself, but
Nope.
gosh, it can also be really great
It can.
on the other side.
It
of that
really, really can.
transition. So
Yes.
well, Ashley, thank you so much. Your
Thank
story is so
you.
powerful. Thank you for being here today and for being so vulnerable and sharing, because I know when we talked about this, I know there is going to be somebody listening to this episode that is going to resonate with what you have shared, and they are going to find strength in your message and your journey. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for being part of the Marvelous Middle Age Podcast community. I'd love for you to follow the show so new episodes land right in your feed. I'd be so grateful if you left a rating and a 5-star review on the podcast platform you listen on. It's a simple way to help others find the podcast. And if there's a topic you'd love to hear more about, I'd truly love to hear from you. You can email me at themarvelousmiddleagepodcast@gmail.com or send me a DM on Instagram @NicoleStew. Thank you for listening, for showing up, and for choosing to thrive in this season of life.